How's it going, Samuel? What's happening?
Well, lots of things are happening, but thank God everything is pretty much quiet here in Israel, despite what you might hear in the news. It's nice and quiet, very warm, very hot, and taking it easy so far.
All right. And for those of you that might might remember it, Samuel made a great flat Earth proof from the Torah, and he pointed around. He said, he pointed to a verse. Tell me what verse it is in a second. That the sun goes around the north and along the south. And I featured that video. It was a great video. And so Samuel contacted me and said he's got more proofs in the Torah that he wants to share. Is that correct?
Oh yes.
All right. So let's get into it.
Okay, no problem. Just first of all, I'd like to to tell people that you don't have to be Jewish. You don't have to believe in the Torah just to learn from it. The Torah is full of information, and that you can double check anytime you want, and you're going to see that it's a source of information so rich that I believe it becomes now almost crucial to understand what's written in these books, because what the problem is that your translations that you guys have in English are mostly all either totally false or not at all accurate. Like, that verse that you just mentioned that says that the sun, goes around the north and along the south. In your translations, it's always written around the north and around the south, but it's not that. If you don't read Hebrew, you cannot do that.
Some people say it's the winds, not the sun, but either
No,
way,
it's not.
it's the same
Yeah,
thing. Either way, it's the same thing. The winds go around the north and along the south. If you think about a
yeah,
flat Earth, they go around the north, right? The center is the north,
yes,
and they go along the south, not around the
yes.
south, right? Oh, so I say it's the Arctic. You go around, you're arcing around when you're in here, but if you're out here, it's Antarcting, the Antarctic.
Of course.
All right, go
There's
ahead.
no South Poles. Yeah, or just for that point, also people might be confused again if you don't know how to read in Hebrew the Torah. You can believe it's the wind, but actually the verse, keeps on talking about the sun, and our scholars just confirm it talks about the sun, and of course the wind with the sun, because the sun makes a movement when it goes, so it creates wind. So that you can understand this out of this verse. But anyways, it won't change anything, because the point is that it's written, it goes around and then it goes along. So that's the main point. Whatever it is, you can talk about a school bus, going around the north and along the south. It's still along the south. It's never around the south. Cannot go around the south. That's the
I
point.
like it. Game over.
Of
Earth is
course,
flat.
the earth is clearly flat. So we got a few points. If you want to, I can start with the fact that the earth is not a globe. First of all, it's not written globe in the Torah. Never. There's no such word as globe. There is a word as ball at one point, but that doesn't talk about the earth at all. It talks about the hair of somebody that's like put his hair like a ball, but there is no mention of a globe ever. Not in the Torah, not even in the Christian Bible. I believe that it's been added up by the Catholic Church in some years. I don't know,
Right.
but it doesn't exist.
A lot of
Yeah.
people refer to the verse in Isaiah that says the circle of the earth, but a circle is a line on a flat surface, a plane that has all of its points equidistant from a center point. That's a
Uh,
circle. Draw a circle on your
uh,
table, on the floor. That's a circle.
And the circle, it's your translation, because in English it's not a circle. Sorry, in Hebrew it's not a circle, it's the circumference. You see? A
Okay.
hog, it's a circumference, which is confirmed by all the rabbis. A hog in Hebrew is a circumference, is not a circle, but it can be seen as a circle, you know. But it's actually the circumference of the earth. This is like, so obvious that it's crazy for me to have to prove it, but anyways. So check it out. Just for the fact that the earth is not a globe. So, okay, we just see that verse that, of course, says that, the sun goes along the south and around the north. So that proves that it's not a globe. That's there's no southern South Pole. there's also something that in the beginning of the Torah, maybe you don't pay attention, but the earth is mentioned as being a field. You know, all the bushes of the field. You know, in Genesis 2:5, it's written that at one point the bushes of the field and the grass of the field were not growing. You know, something like this. So the field, it's not written in the Torah the field bushes. It's written the bushes of the field. Like the field is something known, is something already, you know, established, something that people know. So the earth, when you check it out, is actually mentioned as being a field which is flat. This is clearly flat in the Torah. Now you have the, again, like we just said again, just to bring back that verse, that the God sits on the circumference of the earth in Isaiah 40:22. It's not the circle, it's not the globe, of course not.
It's on it or over it.
Sits. Wait, let me check it out real quickly. Al Hoga on the circumference. It sits on the circumference.
So how do you translate that? Sitting on the circumference, that would be like sitting on the edge of the circle to me. Like that
Okay,
would be
so
sitting right here with my feet dangling in
yes,
the water. That would be sitting on the circumference.
yeah. Check it out. You see, the dome is also sitting on the earth. It's, you know, written many times. So it's like God, it covers up the entire earth. God is not like, you know, like a person that can just move into places. So it just like
So
it feels, yeah.
if God is sitting on the dome, if the dome is his seat, then the dome
Yes,
is sitting on the circumference of the earth.
exactly.
All right, I buy it. I'll buy it. I'm in.
this is logic, you know, for us, that when we learn the Torah in Hebrew, it's so obvious that it's funny for me to have to explain to you, because I you know, never realized how your translations are so inaccurate. It's crazy. So we have also the fact that in the Torah, the sun never rises or never sets. It's never written that the sun rises or the sun sets. There's no movement up and down. All the time in the Torah, in everywhere, the sun is mentioned as shining. That's when it comes up, like when it rises, it shines, and it shines all day long. And then when you say that it sets, in fact, in the Torah, it says it comes. That means it comes back. That means it already is doing his is making his turn back. It's coming back. That means it stays up. It never goes down or up. It just go like this. So when it goes far away, you don't see it. But don't worry, it's just coming back. It's going on. It's on his way back. You understand?
Yeah.
So that this is important. There's no such thing as like the sun going down or up, like you could believe if you believe that the Earth is a globe. You know that, you know, the impression that it gives you that it goes up and down, but it doesn't go up and down. In the Torah, it's not written never that it goes up or down.
Right.
It's
A
always
lot of people, a lot of people were like, well, what do you mean the sun? It obviously goes down. You know, the anti-flat earthers will say, you know, the sun, you can't explain the sun on a flat earth, and absolutely you can. I don't want to get into all of that. But if you look at, I mean, just perspective for those of you that are maybe new to this, I'm trying to find a picture I have, which I'm looking for. Perspective, where'd it go? It's oh, here we go. This is just a simple one, right? These street lights, right?
yeah, of
They're
course.
not going down, they're just going away.
Yeah,
And
of
they
course.
look like they're going down. All of these lines are at the same height.
Perspective. Yeah,
Yeah,
we
very
know this.
simple.
And in the Torah, I know what's funny is that there is a great commandment of God that says, "Do not go after your heart or after your eyes." That means do not trust your eyes or your hearts. That means that, you know, you have to don't go you know according to what you see. You know, always check things out. You know, that's true for everything, not just for perspective.
Let me show you an example of that. Which line is higher, the yellow one The orange one or the red one?
It's impossible to know, but yeah,
That's a good answer.
I'd say the yellow one, of course.
The yellow one. Okay. So which line is the shortest line? Yellow, orange, or red?
Okay, yellow. The way
Okay.
I see it, if I
That's what it looks
see,
like. So here I am
yeah,
sitting on a porch here. This plant is about 4 or 5 feet above the deck. So this is 5 feet in the air. This line is the edge of the deck. So this is 5 feet below this line. And then the beach is another 10 feet below this deck.
yeah, I
So
see.
this is the water, which is 15 feet below this line.
Very nice.
And then if we look, this is about maybe 7 feet across right here. This is maybe about 15 feet. And this is probably a couple of miles.
Yeah, of course.
So again,
Very
just
nice.
like you said, did you say it says in the Torah, don't trust what you see? Is that
Yeah, don't trust your eyes, of course.
well, but the thing is, you have to understand what your eyes see. That's how
Of
I
course,
look at it.
you have
Yeah.
to double check. You have to double check.
Yeah.
Don't believe in anything until you double check it, of course.
All right, next.
This is what it means. Okay, next, in the Torah, you can read the text literally, and then, how do you want to hide secrets in a book? You only have like letters, words, and numbers. So there are ways to make anagrams, like I showed in a few of my videos, and those anagrams usually always give you a different angle of what's written, like give you another insight. So there are ways to reverse the words, when it's logic, of course. No, you cannot take like 2,000 words and just mix them up and rewrite them. If not, you could do that with a newspaper. But in the beginning, when it's written that God, in the beginning, what you translate, in the beginning, God created the skies and the earth. Actually, you can flip those words, and you see that it's written that in a plateau, God created the sea, the skies, and the earth. This is the anagrams of the words. You can the best thing for you, in order not to lose too much time to develop all this. You can go on the channel. If you can send them a link there on the playlist, and they can check all those points that have been explained before. So
Those points,
if you read,
these are points you've made in your series of videos. You made them.
yeah.
All right, so I'll link that in the description. The playlist to your series.
Another thing, because some of those points I give you also prove other points. But for example, the fact that the ocean is called a mikveh, which it's a mikveh in Hebrew, it's a pool of water, like for ritual bath. So actually, if it's called a pool, it's actually a proof that it's been enclosed into walls, and automatically it's flat. And I don't know how to prove that the water cannot go around the globe. This is so obvious for me that it's it cannot be. But of course, when it's written in the Torah that the seas are like a pool, so automatically it's flat. Wherever you can go, that's flat. Everything says it's flat. There's no
a pool needs containment. The science of water says large bodies of water, not a drop of water, a large body of water, anything over a gallon, I say, needs containment.
Of course.
It needs containment. And, Antarctica is the highest land on Earth by over double any other continent. Its average height is over double the second highest continent. So that is the containment of our pool,
of course,
our pond. Right.
Because our world has been built with laws, that you cannot break. Water doesn't go around the globe. It's so ridiculous. So Samuel, anyways, yes.
You're a big follower of the Torah. You're very, religious. Is that the right word?
No, not at all. I'm very, I'm lightly religious. I'm doing
light religious, but you follow the Torah. Here's the thing:
yes.
People like I used to be. I used to laugh at all religious books, all scriptures. I used to laugh at all of them, and I still say to this day, that the scripture. I'm going to say this carefully, and it's probably going to come out wrong, and everyone's going to attack me for it.
No problem.
Isn't proof. It is proof if you believe in God, right? It is proof, right? But if you don't believe in God, it's not proof.
Well, it's a book, anyways. It's an old book.
It's an old book that you don't know where it came from. You don't know. There's a lot of I don't knows, and so there are people there are people that are atheists or whatever, that just like, okay, it says that, but it's just a book, doesn't prove anything. I'm with you there.
Yeah,
But
of course, I respect
but
every, of course.
whether you're religious or not, or anything, actual science, not pseudoscience, proves the Earth is flat. Large bodies of water at rest lie flat. Period. They
Of
need
course.
containment. Period. You can't show us any situation anywhere in the natural world or even the science, in the lab,
Yeah, of
where
course.
water doesn't need containment and lay flat.
Of course.
Large bodies,
Of,
anything more than a gallon.
of course. Of course.
Oh, there you go. All right, continue on.
And now, and again, I don't. You see, I'm not. I'm a newcomer, in that whole flat Earth thing. But I tell you something. I didn't see one flat Earth believer. There's no such thing as flat Earth believers. The people that understand that the Earth is flat are people that understand things, don't believe. We're not believers. We check things that we believe, we double check them, and then we understand them. So, belief is good for, like you say, religion is good for God, is good. But, but flat Earth, there's everything to be understood there, not to be believed. There's nothing to do with belief. You understand? You have to, what do you do all day? You prove things. You don't believe in things. You just prove things.
I mean, some people say that the Bible proves the Earth is flat. I think the fact that the Earth is flat proves the Torah and the Bible,
right.
lots of the stuff that's in there.
Right? Yeah, it goes back, of course.
Right. So there you go. I'm
course.
Certainly not an expert. I'm not even an amateur on any of these books. So it's interesting talking to you.
No problem. Just I'm also, like a very, cold-blooded investigator. Nothing, shocks me. And even the Torah, even the religion, I always question things. And this is what the Torah wants you to do. It's made for that. It's made for you to question, to make you smart, to make you sharp. It's done. It's built for that, and it's a great experience. So the next thing I wanted to tell you is about the Earth that's not spinning on itself. So here we have Isaiah 66, 1. That says that the Earth is God's footstool. So in all logic, if it's a footstool, it cannot be spinning. It has to be stable. In Kohelet, which is Ecclesiastes 1:4, the Earth stands forever, don't move, is stationary. This is like literally, literal text. Again, that verse that says that the sun goes around the north and along the south also proves that the Earth doesn't move, because it's the sun that moves at that point.
It works on a flat Earth, makes no sense on a globe.
Of course.
Yeah.
Then there are some secret verses, like I told you, like when you make anagrams, that tells you literally that the Earth is flat. The word is flat and quiet. That's the way they put it in words. Quiet meaning, calm, stationary, doesn't move. There's no word for like stationary in the Torah.
You go out in nature, away from all civilization, away from all Wi-Fi and television and people, and you're camping out there, and you get up in the morning and you go outside. It's quiet. It's stationary. It's
yes.
It's the opposite of what they're indoctrinating us to. It's the complete and total opposite.
Of course, right? Of course.
Yeah, imagine you were born today. You just have no knowledge of anything, and you're popped in the middle of the wilderness in a beautiful place with lakes and mountains, and you wake up. Are you going to say that I'm spinning on a ball, or are you going to realize you're on a stationary, quiet plane?
Of course, and I tell you something. I'm going to make like a little, short break in what we're doing, just to tell you that I've seen a lot of your videos, and your job is the work you're doing is like amazing. It's like unbelievable. And I've seen also how do you call him, Eric Dubay, and I saw a few other guys that worked hard to prove that the Earth is flat. But the thing is that I see that today the main argument, the main thing that the Globers are going to tell you is that why the conspiracy? How come they're going to why would they spend so much money to lie? This is ridiculous. They have nothing to gain from this. And this is when you need the Torah. Because in fact, we have, like you said many times, the big question is why? Why the lie? And this is when you need the Torah to understand things, because Torah also talks about history, where these people come from. How come they spend so much money to lie? They don't just lie. They invest like trillions of dollars to lie. You imagine? What's the
I think
motivation?
it's all to control us and separate us from God.
Yes, this is true at a certain level, but they already have control. Those guys already control everything. They make money. They do everything. There are deepest reasons that I believe when people will start realizing what they are fighting against, it's going to be like a big time awakening. Yeah.
But think about this. Think about this. Let's say overnight something goes viral and everyone in the world wakes up to the flat earth, wakes up to the globe lie, right? They lose control. They lose control because they don't have control. I mean, we're still in their system. We're still using their stupid fiat money. We're still, abiding by their rules. Some of us are, some of us aren't. And but if everybody wakes up, all the governments of the world that are controlling us, and they're being controlled by people above them, they're gone. Everyone's just going to ignore them. So I say this entire deception, is about control, because if you wake up to the true fact that we're at the center of creation, that we are, that God is here and close, they can't control us. And so that's why, in my opinion, the number one reason why they lie.
Yeah, control, of course, it's one of the means for them to to do what they do. But again, you see, if you this kind of enemies, you have to eradicate them all the way. You cannot just catch them and give them a blow and that's it. You have to just totally eliminate them. It's like what we're doing now in I don't want to enter politics, but what we're doing now in Gaza with the Hamas, we have to go all the way to finish those people out, and then we have to rebuild. This is not easy to maybe to accept, but at one point when you have an enemy that that if you kill like 90% of them, the 10% is going to just grow and it's going to be again the same thing in like 5 years. We know that. You understand? Now, if you say that everybody wakes up and say that the Earth is a globe, okay, they can come up and say, okay, we're sorry, we lied to you about the globe because we wanted money and control, but now we change and okay, but they're gonna see they might still stay in power.
I don't agree with all of that.
Yeah.
We can agree to disagree.
Okay.
Yeah. So go ahead.
But it's a big issue, the why and Okay, so but the fact that the Earth is not spinning around the sun, that's very simple. First of all, the sun, the moon, and the stars, were put into the dome, in Genesis 1:17, so it's inside. Also, the dome is called the skies, so this is very easy to understand. You have the dream of Joseph. Joseph dreaming of all the stars, like bowing down towards him. And at that point, Joseph is considered in the dream as the earth itself, because his father is saying, "Oh, what do you think? We're gonna just bow down to you." Outside in Hebrew, that means towards earth. That means you are the earth, and all the stars are like serving the earth, which is written in Genesis, because the task of the sun and the skies and all the moon and the stars is to serve the earth, to light up the earth. That's their function, not something else. So actually, the earth is not spinning around the sun. The earth is central, and I believe it's built according to the geocentric, system. That means the earth is central, and everything, is serving the earth. The thing also is that there is also verse in Psalm 19:7 that says that nothing hides from the sun's heat. So that proves also different things, but also the fact that, of course, the earth, it cannot move around the sun, because the sun is enclosed into a dome, which keeps the heat all over the earth. You understand? So that you can deduct very easily things out of these verses. Now again, when you
I mean, you could argue on the globe side that the sun's heat and the heliocentric world, we're going around the sun, and the Earth can't hide from the heat.
well, no, you cannot hide, because if you have a sun on one side and the Earth on the other side, so heat is not heated.
Wait, say it again. You froze for a second. Say that again.
Yeah, I'm saying that if the sun is a big ball and the Earth is a small ball, okay, so at one point there is a dark side of the Earth that is not being heated, so you can, yes, hide from the heat.
But on the dark area of the world in a small in a flat Earth model, the dome is keeping the heat in, so
yes,
it's heating the whole thing.
Yeah, so you cannot hide on a flat Earth. You cannot hide like the Torah says, but on a globe you can.
Yeah, I mean, that's an explanation. You can explain anything, but the fact that the sun is a burning ball of gas in a space vacuum 93 million miles away, and we could feel the heat, or it could exist, that negates itself. So,
of course.
All right, I like it. I like the explanation.
It's absurd, totally absurd.
Everything's absurd with the globe.
They want to make us stupid. I believe that you talked about control, and I join you now because how do you want to control such so many people? You have to make them stupid. It's easier to control.
They've done a really good job at that. Hats off to the controllers. They've dumbed down the world so much. Here in America, I don't want to get into politics with what's crazy stuff that's happening here, but I believe they want us to revolt. They want a civil war so they could lock us down, right? But the people are too fluoridated and jabinated that they're just not reacting. They're just not doing anything. They're not rising up. They're trying to rile us, but people are just too dumbed down to do anything.
Exactly. In the Torah, it's written many times about the dead people and the living ones. It's not just like the dead bodies, and we're talking about like people willing to wake up, people willing to live as human beings. A human being is made to think, to grow up, to evolve. He has a language, a writing system, not like the animals. Animals don't have to evolve, but we do have to evolve. And automatically a man that doesn't want to evolve, doesn't care, doesn't understand, don't want to understand, somehow is dead as human being. Is like, it's kind of dead. You understand?
Right.
It's a way to see it. It's a way to see that. And at the end, that flat Earth, war that we're living is something great, because it's going to distinguish between the living and the dead ones, between those that want to fight for the truth, want to to fight for the truth, for understanding their world and progress and do good, and the others that don't care, that just don't care. Understand? This is great, because it takes everybody, Jews, non-Jews, all races, all whatever you believe in. It's like it's great. It's a great move. I believe that God is behind this 100%. Earth not traveling in a universe. The Earth cannot travel in a universe, because the universe is enclosed above the Earth. That's very simple. Genesis 1:16-17.
Okay.
Also something important. The word far in Hebrew, rahok, is never employed to describe the sun or the moon or the stars. There's no such thing as a far away star, far away sun, and there's nothing. Never. It's never used to describe this. That means that they are not far, and of course they're not far, because they're into above the Earth, serving the Earth.
There's some people that are doing some great telescope work, and this one guy showed he zoomed in on the moon perfectly in focus. Then he zoomed past the moon, so the moon is
I know, I get that. Yeah.
And then he zooms on. You can zoom before, on, or after, and then he could do that with stars and planets. But then he zooms in on one of them in focus, and then just moves the telescope from planet to the moon to the stars, and they're all in focus without changing. What does that tell you? They're all the same distance away, or I don't understand optics.
Yeah. It's if you think a little bit, just understand, like great things, like it's we're doing something very special.
You say that people need to think. The problem is they think inside the heliocentric paradigm, which they've been indoctrinated in. And so they're trying to understand flat Earth in a heliocentric world, and they can't do it. They're like, it doesn't make any sense. All the planets are around. What evidence do you have of planets other than lights in the sky?
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
When you study a little bit the Torah about Egypt, people believe that the Jews were like not well treated in Egypt. They were like slaves. They were not really slaves the way we believe. They were making money. They were paid, very very well paid. We know
Right.
this because, and this is how Pharaoh enslaved people by making the slaves believe they're not slaves, that they're free. The best slave ever is the slave that doesn't know that he's a slave, because he will never want to escape because there's nothing to escape from. And he's going to fight to stay in his jail. He's going to fight because he's going to say, I'm free.
And not only is there nothing to escape, I mean, they've made us believe that there's nowhere else to go. If that's what you're saying. Yeah, there's nowhere else to go. And they don't realize they're slaves, and then the hardest people to wake up are the people that are financially doing well, because they're like, hey, that's pretty good. I've got all the means and everything, and they just keep them in this material world.
That's it. Yeah, they're just like exactly, in a virtual reality. I know.
Yeah.
Like a billionaire. Why be a billionaire? Okay, if you want to buy things, and okay, but if you don't buy anything, just like make more money, so you have more money in the bank account that doesn't do nothing, you're kind of sick. It's kind of a disease. I don't know. Working hard to make money you don't need. It's a disease somehow. If you think about it, there's no.
I used to be very, very focused, and a lot of people are, and on making money, more money, more money, more money, right? Because you need money to survive. And hey, there are some material things that are nice. Traveling is nice, and all sorts of stuff. But now, the greatest joy I get in life is helping other people see. Because when somebody wakes up and sees, there's nothing more gratifying than that. So that's why I do this, right? And, they'll say I'm grifting, I'm a grifter for money. It's like you have no idea what you're talking about.
Because looking for the truth, increases your human values, brings them back to the surface. Yeah. You understand? You're becoming human, not special. You just re-becoming human again. And the human is made to help others. The strong one is made to help the weak one, not to dominate him. Right. It's stupid, because one day that you're going to be weak also. Then you're going to need somebody to help you, So, just like when I learn something, I have to share it. What's the point for me to learn something if I cannot just share that knowledge? What am I going to do with it? Just die with it? Yeah. This is ridiculous.
All right.
And just to finish about money, I just want to just throw that because I'm here with you today. Everybody talks about money, and nobody knows. You just shut off the mic. Check it out. And nobody knows who invented money, where it comes from.
That's what got me on my truth journey, looking into where money came from.
Yes, I tell you exactly where it comes from. In the Torah, you take the word money, kesef in Hebrew. You see where it appears for the first time, where it is born for the first time, and you understand who made it. And you see the first time the money appears in the Torah is when Abraham comes out of Egypt, very heavy with money, with gold, and with all kinds of stuff. Out of this, you understand that money was created by Pharaoh in Egypt. Before money, you had salt, and the salt mostly was next to the Dead Sea. In Israel, there was a lot of salt back then, and people that was controlling that area were controlling the World Bank, because exchanges back then were made with salt. And before that, there were just exchanges. Give me eggs, I'll give you chicken. Give me clothes, I give you weapons, whatever. And it was according to the time it took for creating that thing. But then you had salt, and then you had money. And this is how Pharaoh could enslave people, because now you have something that's small, a coin. Actually, it was with a hole in it. So they used to count it with a stick, with the marks like this. And they used to take the out and count it like this. And this because now people can work and can accumulate money. When it's salt, you cannot accumulate salt. You cannot like have like 3 tons of salt in your house. And if you make exchanges, if you exchange eggs with something else, you cannot have like 2 million, eggs in your house. So people back then used to buy only what they needed. So most of the time they had time to think about life, to study Earth, study their environment, and they were not under pressure. But as soon as money became a coin, so now you can work and you can just accumulate money. The more money you have, the more power you have. You can put them, you can store them somewhere. So, okay, this is
where you
just a point.
Worth your weight in salt, right?
Yeah. The salt was back then the money, but after that, the Pharaoh is the one that made money. We can, talk about it. I don't want to expand myself. I would be willing to talk like, hours about all this, but let's keep on going. Okay, so again, for the fact that the Earth is not traveling universe, also there is a fact that God's honor is always said to fill up the Earth and never the skies. If the skies and the universe were actually so huge and so big, and that it would be God's creation, so God's honor will fill up all this. But it's never written that God fills up the space. There's no such thing. It's the earth. God's honor is to fill up the earth. So if the earth is so small, tiny, and the universe is so big, so what is God doing? Like just filling up the earth, you understand? So the earth is the world. The earth is the space. And
I like it.
And there are many also things that can make you think that in fact, it's possible, like I said in one of my videos, that actually the what we believe is space, because we look at it and we see it like space, might be time. And I don't know myself how it can work, but according to the Torah, when you investigate, it is time. I can tell you how we can get to that reasoning. It's not very hard to understand. First of all, you see that the moon, the sun, and the skies. The moon, the sun, and the stars were made first of all to shed light upon the earth. Okay, that's one. But also they were made as instruments of time, to define months, days, years, etc. Now, what is a light in the Torah? It's a time, because in the first verse tells you, and he called the light day. So day 1, day 2, third day, fourth day, those are lights. You understand? So it's possible that what we believe is space, in fact, reflects time. Now, don't ask me how it works. That's your bit. That's not. I'm not a technician. I'm not a scientist. But according to what the text says, many times in the Torah, you're going to see that time and space, dance together. They switch one for another all the time. When you believe we're talking about space in the Torah, we're not talking about space. We're talking about time. For example, when Moses goes up and sees all the land until the last sea, actually, we know it. We have to read it until the last day. Yam, it's sea in Hebrew, and Yom, it's day in Hebrew. So actually, when he went up, he saw in time, not in space. And there are many examples. I'm not going to talk about them now. That tells you that in the playlist, you can see the video that says that space is time. You're going to see. So that's just an idea for now.
The sky is a perfect clock, hence my clock app. And it shows us, exactly, I say this all the time, and people like scratch their heads like, really? The finest Swiss watch is not as accurate as the sky clock, because the sky is time.
Of course.
And that is exactly what time is. And so everything is calculated to it. But they want us to believe that in a heliocentric model with all of these gravity things going around the sun, flying in ridiculous directions, that this keeps perfect time. This, you wouldn't be able to predict what it does in a minute from now, let alone for forever and have all of these cycles. I mean, this is how dumbed down the world is, because we were taught that this is a fact before we had the ability to question things.
Of course, exactly what you said. And just to close that point, the Hebrews in the desert, they have like a tent in the middle, like a tabernacle. I don't know how you call it.
Yeah.
And it's called in Hebrew Ohel Moed, which is the tent of time. Like a tent is a space of times. Moed in Hebrew is a time, is a period of time. So actually, you have something in the middle of the Hebrews there that's called space time. And when you look at the position, how the people is positioned, you see that it's like a calendar. You have like 12 months and the 13th month, because every 4 years you have another month that adds up, in our calendar. So it's everything has to do with time. It's very important. Just like the miracles, when they say that, the sea didn't open up because it was just like there was like 30 centimeters of water, and just the wind can blow, blow the water and open it up, in two, and actually people don't believe that it was actually a miracle, but it's true. The water that opens up is not a miracle. What is the miracle? Is that it opened up at the right time. That's a miracle. The miracle is in time always. It's not with nature, because it is said that the wind blew and everything, no problem. But the fact that it opened up at the exact time that we needed it, that's the miracle. So the time is very important to understand.
What do you think about the idea that there used to be 13 months of 28 days, and that equals 364, and then one day to reset the year? So there used to be 13 months of 28 days. That's the moon cycle. Everything works amazing with that.
Yeah, I'll tell you something.
Or say anything about that?
Well, not much. All I can tell you is that the year of the flood, okay, was actually 1 year and 11 days, which is a lunar year, actually, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. When you calculate it, when you see how many days the flood was, prolongated, it was like a year and 11 days. So I know that the moon year is like about 11 days, apart from the.
Have you ever seen this? That turtle shells have 13 sections and then 28 tiles around the outside?
I didn't see that.
Yeah. Almost, if not all, turtles have this same configuration, right? That these are the months and then these are the days.
It's funny. It's crazy.
Right?
So it's one mind that created everything. One mind just is behind all this.
I agree.
This is unbelievable. So what else do we got? Sun is local, of course. So one of the things that can very easily show it in the Torah is that in the book of Joshua 10:12-13, the sun stopped. When Joshua says, okay, the sun has to stop, but it's written in Hebrew, it stopped at half the skies, not half day, not at noon, but at half the skies. I mean, you have the skies, and half the skies, the sun stopped. So that proves that the sun is local.
Explain half the skies.
That means that, at one point, Joshua orders the sun to stop. And when it is stopped, it's written that the sun stopped at Retzi Shamayim in Hebrew, which can be translated literally as half the skies, like at the half of the skies themselves, like at the position, like at the height, at the if the skies are a volume, it's like at the half of the volume. It's just stayed within the skies,
halfway between the ground and the firmament.
This I cannot say exactly because it's very precise. It's written half the skies, which means that if the skies start from Earth, okay, you can say if it starts from Earth, so it will be half the, like you said, if now the skies are some kind of thickness, into the dome, so which I don't understand, I don't know this, so it's half there. But the point is that it's within the skies. So it's stopped
Okay.
within the skies, not outside, and not so it's
Right.
local.
And how do you stop the sun in the heliocentric model?
In a heliocentric model, and you stop the
We're
sun.
spinning. We'd have to
No,
stop.
no, yeah, exactly. You
Right.
cannot stop of course, because the
Right.
sun is dominant. Is the dominant, of course.
Right.
Like in all the Roman religions. Of course, also it's written that the sun and the moon were put in the dome again to light the earth. So of course they are local. They cannot be outside far away, because they'll be lighting up other things that is not their job, to do so. So and again, that same verse that the sun goes along the south and around the north also proves it's local.
I mean, the heliocentrists would argue that the sun does light up other things. It lights up the other planets. That's why we see
No,
them, because the light that's
well,
bouncing off of them.
yeah, they can say no. I tell you something. I used to believe in Santa Claus when I was a kid. I believed in Santa Claus. Already, I even saw him once. In a shopping center. I touched him once. I believed in. But you can, if you believe things, but you don't prove them logically, you can stay with your beliefs. You just stuck. You're stuck into your beliefs, in your stupid beliefs, and so they can say whatever they want. They can, say whatever they want. Now they have to prove it, and this is where.
Well, I mean, when people see me do it many times, but if you take the time and look at the planets, the brightness that we see, it's impossible that they're reflecting sunlight. It's just impossible.
Everything's impossible, and
Provably,
I
provably.
tell you something. You know what's funny is that they don't even know how to lie correctly. They're like they don't lie very intelligently, because it's so easy to see how they're lying, that I believe that their lies is made to create like stupid people. Very, you have to be very dumb to believe what they say. You don't have to be like half of them. You have to be totally dumb to believe what they say. And I
Now,
believe this is what they want to create. They want to create totally dumb people, like totally stupid people.
I sometimes wonder if they're dumb and they just suck at lying, and
No.
they're trying to dumb us down with dumb lies. Like if you have a complicated lie, a dumb person's not going to get it. But if you have a really dumb lie, it's going to drag people down.
But that's the point.
Interesting.
This is why it's not, you cannot think about those people like they are people like you and I. There is something very evil that wants to die and wants to bring the entire world to to self-destruct with him. You understand? But there are laws. There is a God. There are laws for that. So it's doing that, by the book. That means that everything is done for you to desire to self-destruct. With fun, and this is the point. It has to bring you to self-destruct. They don't want to kill you. They want you to commit suicide, and to wish you could die and embrace death. It's sick. It's very sick. It's not easy to accept, but we know what's behind all this. We know it's an old story. It's like it's not new, all this. Even I don't know if you had time to check the last video I made about the fact that the dream, what NASA is doing, is what that had been done already before the flood. Everything that you see, all the lies about the Earth today, actually were the same lies that were enforced onto people before the flood. And this, I show it in like 15 minutes. It's very easy. You're gonna see. That's why at the end, the rainbow was chosen by God as a sign of his alliance between the earth and himself. Why? Because the rainbow again is the reflection of the sun on the dome. So as a reminder of his alliance between him and the entire earth, the dome is also the rainbow is also a reminder that there is a dome, and that the world is his creation. And that was central. Like I said, also the best way to prove that the earth was flat was to create a flood. The flood is the best way to prove that the earth is flat, when you think about it.
How do you flood a ball? Right. Gravity, man. Gravity.
Of
Gravity.
course.
Yeah, it holds
So
everything together.
all that makes sense, but again, you have to think a little bit, not too much, just a little bit. What else we have? Oh, there is something, I don't know, maybe if you check that out. The north, of course, is in the center, like we saw, but there is a verse that bothers me. I don't understand it, because God talks about like a people coming from the north, but it calls that people water at one point. So this is how it's working in the Torah. You have a story talking about people, but suddenly you have an illusion of something else that has nothing to do with the story, and this is how you can catch a few points. And it is said that the water is rising from the north. So water, I'm not talking about like gases or water, like the liquid, rises from the north. So if water rises from anywhere, that means it comes from the lowest point possible, cannot rise from above. So I have a question for you, Dave. Have you, in your research, maybe crossed the idea that maybe the north or the North Pole is at a lower point than the rest of the Earth? It's the lowest point, or is it lower? Or because I know that you said at one point, and it's confirmed by the Torah, that the south, the Antarctica, or whatever you want to call it, is high, is the highest continent. And is it possible that the north is the lowest one?
It very well could be. That again, I can't confirm it, but there's a lot of people looking at it. Just about the tides right here on the FAQ page of the app. There's a tide section, and the latest videos on there. This guy did a thing about the waters of the deep, and I my belief is that it's way more complicated than there's not one answer. There's many answers, but the Earth is breathing in and out twice a day. Waters come up from the deep, and then they go back down every
wow.
6 hours, every 6.5 hours. Right? It's like a big breathing process, and
living,
and then also the energy and the magnetic fields and stuff on this Earth. There's a whole bunch of places called tidal nodes, where there's no high tide. I mean, no, there's no tide at all. There's no tide at all. And let me show it to you. And there's just high tides and low tides that go around these tidal nodes, these red dots. There's no tide there. No tide, no tide, no tide, no tide. There's no tide, and the highs and lows circle around them. So when people say, the moon proves that the Earth is a globe because of the tides, you just believe that the moon causes the tides.
Yeah, of course.
But the moon does affect the tides. The full moon affects the tides more than the new moon. Well, if it's the gravity from the moon, what difference does it make if it's lit up by the sun or not? When the moon is powered up, it has more of an effect on the salt water, which carries the current. So we're in this big electrical system on this plane, this inertial plane inside a toroidal field with God on the top. It's wild. It's wild.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I tell you, I'm a very simple person, and I'm very I'm a street guy, and I just think like this. Okay, I see the waters are moving. You call that tides. All right, no problem. But actually, now I see the Earth, under like a big lid like this, like a big dome. And the only thing that are moving, that I know that are moving, is the sun and the moon. So is it possible that when they are moving, they are creating somehow some air movement or some pressure,
absolutely.
something?
They're creating a electromagnetic wake. So they go around in their circle, and it's just like if you get a tub of water and push your hand through it, and on the opposite sides, you'll have counter-rotating vortices, right? And so that's why storms spin one way in the south and one way in the north, and differently in the tropics. But sometimes, depending on where the sun and the moon is, when a storm is going, it will cross the tropics, totally negating the whole Coriolis thing. But so that's my for the winds, I think that's what's causing it. That's what's with the magnetic fields. You got to look at the toroid, the whole thing, and all of that is moving everything around. There's very consistent winds above us.
And if it's in the closed system, of course, that the wind is also bouncing on the dome. It has to come back somehow.
Yes.
Because if you're creating a wind, so the dome is bringing back the way it brings back maybe the light also. Maybe I don't know. I'm not a scientist for all these things, but I'm just thinking like basically okay.
Right.
So let's
This is how I see the world. We're in this double toroid, and we live on this inertial plane right here. So you can see this is the dome right here, and then inside of that are all of these forces that are going on. It's interesting.
We have so much to learn. At one point, people won't even think of money even for 1 minute. They're going to just study all this. We have so much to learn, so much.
You're talking about the north, right? These are the paths of all of the planet of 6 planets right here, right? And they all circle around Polaris, right? We're supposedly orbiting around the sun, but all of those planets orbit around Polaris. It makes no sense. It makes no sense.
Checkmate. Checkmate.
It makes no sense. They all go around the center point Polaris.
I tell you what, there is a little comment in the Torah about the fact that Noah, stayed like had 600 years old when he, got into the ark. And there is a, rabbi, like a scholar that says, oh, you know what? 600 years is the time you need to learn all the stars, to learn about, astronomy. So when I read that comment, I don't know if he's right, but, when I read that comment, I say, okay, if it takes like 600 years for men to be able to observe all the movements of the stars, so how much time will it take for men to learn about biology, chemistry and all that? So now you understand why Adam was supposed to live for a long time, like almost being immortal, because his point was to learn about the earth, learn about all this. What we're doing here, we're just like awakening. But actually, when people will be aware of all that knowledge that we've been missing all these thousands of years, we're going to be spending our time just on that because there's so much to learn, so much.
You think that the evil ones that are trying to control this realm have shortened our lives? Like that we used to live hundreds of years?
As I tell you something, in the Torah, there are ways to extend your lifetime. It is said like this, that everybody, those are secrets I'm telling you because it's not even very much known, in Judaism. But everybody that is born with a clock inside him. It's inside his blood, or I don't know exactly how it works. So he's supposed to live a certain amount of time. Now, this time can be extended. You can extend your time. I know there are ways, I don't know how, of course, to extend other people's lifetime. We know from the Torah that all the generation of the flood, the guys that came out of the arch, like Shem, Ever, and all that, it's not written that they died. It's written that guy, was like 100 something years old when he made his kid, and then he lived another like 500 years old, and that's it. And it's not written and he died, like it was written for the generation of Adam. So we know that they're not dead; they're still around. There are many stories about this. So there are ways to reach immortality in the Torah. Of course, this is the highest of the secrets, I believe. But it's possible. In the Torah, it says it is possible. There are people that until now that are still living among us. I don't believe that you can see them, or maybe they just, when you're immortal, you don't get very old. You can stay like, you appear like being 30 years old, and just your clock stopped at one point and don't get old. And actually, when you think about this, natural death is not natural, because in the beginning, man was not supposed to die. So he did something, and it activated death, which is, the being old, getting old. So it's a disease. If the man created, it's a disease. It's something that can be repaired. If God was, did create that, so it was not possible to repair. But if it's man, you can understand it. So of course, it's hard to believe or to understand all those things. But anyways,
how are we doing on points? How many points do you have left?
Okay, all points. Okay, ice walls hold the seas. So there is very clear verses that says that, of course, have you ever reached the sea barriers? So this is in Job 38:16. The sea barriers. It is said also that the south is cold. Job 37:7. It is says that the south unwraps the earth. Job 23:9. And it says also that about God, it is said that he who alone stretches the skies and treads on the sea heights, like seas has heights. How can a sea, have heights? If not, if you don't understand that there are walls actually around the sea, holding the sea. So there are plenty of verses that say that. You can go check, on that playlist, everything that is related to the to the south, and you're going to see that of course it's clear that the sea is being held by high ice walls. This is clear in the Torah. It's checked out. It's clear. That the earth is a closed system. We know that because there is the dome, and the stars and the moon were put into the dome. The dome also protects the earth and keeps the sun's warmth, so that proves that there is a dome, and there is the sun is like enclosed into it. It's like locked into the dome, and so is the heat that it provides. So the fact that it is written that nothing hides from the sun's heat, again, that proves that the heat is enclosed and that it's in the dome. So that's a proof that there is a dome. And the last thing, it's that there is no aliens in space. This is the big lie that they want to enforce on us. Many times it's written in the Torah that God is one. That's one. In Deuteronomy 6:4, 4:35, 32, 39, and many other places. And there is a verse that says there is no alien God with him, which is in Deuteronomy 32:12. So of course there's no aliens in space. There's no aliens, in outer space, because there's no outer space. And there might be people on Earth that come from ancient generations, old people. I agree, but they don't come from space. They come from here. They come from us. But that I won't get into that because it's not the subject for now. Now the big thing is that what I came to understand is that the Earth might be bigger than space. So that's very hard to accept, very hard to understand, but it's very easy to deduct in the Torah. I tell you how. First of all, because the stars, the moon, the stars, and the sun have been put into the globe, into the dome, and that dome has its foundation onto the Earth. So the Earth then is bigger than space. That's
what's above the dome?
All I can tell you is that we know about the thickness of the dome, and the scholars tell us that the thickness of the dome is as thick as the distance between the Earth and the skies. So now try to understand it. That means it's like hundreds of kilometers. I don't know what the distance of the atmosphere, the sky, maybe like 100 kilometers, I don't know, 200, and it's like stiff ice. Above this, there is nothing that I understand, because there's nothing really written about this.
Okay, that's a good answer.
I don't know. I never checked, but I know also something. According to some, again, some secret verses that you can find in the Torah, the word earth in Hebrew, is in fact composed of two words, eretz in Hebrew, which the English earth come from. You took the earth from eretz. It comes from two words, or ratz, a light that is running, a running light. And what I didn't put in my videos, and I thought about it after that, is that maybe is the earth only a very tiny portion of a huge territory that is lit up by the sun, that receives the light. That means that wherever you see the lights of the sun, onto the earth, onto that surface, this is called the earth. This is like if I put like a floodlight, upon a flat surface. What I see here is called the earth, and it's not an entire like asteroid or something. So it's possible. It's like it's new. I never investigated the Torah in that direction, but it's possible because of the word, how it's built. It's a running light. The earth is like a running light.
Interesting.
So also we can talk about this, about the atoms. Atoms are also like involve like light running, and creating all things.
If
So
you believe in atoms.
Yes. We think about what we have so far. I know that we have
people say, well, look at the solar system. It's just like an atom. Like, show me an atom.
Yeah.
Right? No one's ever seen one.
And then just to finish that point that the earth is bigger than the skies, than space, is that in fact it's written that many times in the Torah, God promises the land or the earth, because in Hebrew the same word, to Abraham, to Yaakov, to Yitzhak, and he says, okay, I'm gonna give you the earth, the earth's gonna be used, but he never gives the earth to Abraham. And he says, I'll give you that earth to you and to your offspring. Okay, no problem until now. But then God says to Abraham, look at all the stars in the skies, and your offspring is going to be like this. So wait a second. If my offspring is as big as all the stars in the sky or in space, and they can fit onto the earth, so that's a proof that the earth is bigger than the skies. You understand?
Yeah.
So that's logic, that you're playing with words, because those are just indications where to dig. The words are going to point you a direction. Then you can dig, with science, with everything we got, in order to confirm these words. There is a logic.
Yeah. Before we wrap up, how long ago did you discover the Earth was not a globe?
About a year and a half ago, year something.
And so before that, you were following the Torah. Now that you understand the Earth is not a globe, did the Torah all of a sudden make more sense to you?
It sheds light upon lots of dark spots in the Torah we could never understood without understanding that the earth is flat.
Nice. Amazing.
It's the earth, the flat earth, and your research, without the Torah, help me, and a lot of bodies of us also understand the Torah.
Nice.
That we could have never understood like this. But because you know what, the link that we have, you and I, is that we learn the Torah. It's a book of truth. So we are keepers of the truth. We are,
I'll tell you something. You're not going to be happy.
Go ahead.
You've taught me more about the Torah than I've ever known my entire life, because I've never studied it.
Welcome to the, to our reality.
Yeah, no, but I'm just telling you. I mean, I am not. When you said you wanted to have this interview, I said, I'm not the guy to have this interview. And you're like, yes, you are. We're going to have a discussion. And it's good. I'm glad. I really enjoyed it much more than I thought I would have. I thought I was going to be like, all right, where are we going with it? Because it's not my strong point, but it's frigging fascinating. It's fascinating.
The Torah itself means science. The Torah is laws. They can say, okay, it means laws, but it's science, because science is made out of laws. The Torah is made to think. It's not a religion. It's not religion at all. Religion is dogma. Just do things that are apparently are stupid, but they hold secrets that you'll understand later on. Because the religion in Judaism is just to keep people alive as Jews, to keep the books unaltered through times, which they succeeded to do through religion. But now what's going on is that what helped us to survive until now keeps us from growing. So this is we've reached a point now where we have to start understanding what we believed in so far. And I believe it's the same thing, on the other side also. But the thing is that since you're seeking the truth, so we meet. I realize that you are fighting the same war that I was fighting for like 20 years on a different front. So now those two fronts are joining, and this is amazing. You're going to see that, The Torah is going to help us understand things that you're going to be able to prove, because you're going to have a direction to dig. It's going to tell you, like, dig there, just dig over there. You understand? It's not going to prove you anything. The Torah won't prove you nothing. Just can help you, prove things.
All right, man. Thanks. Awesome discussion.
Thanks to you.
Thanks
to you.
All right, man. And I will link your playlist. Email me that playlist again, and I'll link the playlist.
Okay.
And then you just keep putting all of your Flat Earth videos in that playlist, and they'll be linked under this video.
Pleasure to talk with you.
All right, man. Thanks. See ya.
Okay.
Bye-bye.